Coach, could you start by just kind of talking a little bit about the progress that you think the offense made from last week through this game?
I think at times we look really good. I don't think that we've played the whole game, but I mean, we definitely made more plays this game, took care of the ball for the most part this game, but obviously we played about a quarter and a half of football, really. So.
Can you kind of go into a little bit more detail about that, why you feel like
Well, if you look at the flow of the game, I thought that, the first drive, I thought we were successful. We converted 2 or 3 third and mediums. We stalled out when we got down there, but we got 3 points. Obviously you don't want to settle for 3 points, but there were some things we could have done to score touchdowns. But you're gonna sputter sometimes, kick field goals, whatever. We moved the ball though, and so the second quarter we really started rolling. We had a really good second quarter. I think we had close to 160, 170 yards in the second quarter, which was good. And so at halftime, I felt that my honest assessment after the game, I think we have a group of guys that, are a little bit inexperienced in certain positions, and some were not, but I don't think we handled having a lead very well. And so it was 24-7, which doesn't in any way, shape, or form mean the game's over. But I did get a sense, even in the locker room, that we were like, okay, this is easy. Like, whenever you start thinking that we got this is easy, you're going to have a problem. And so I thought we went out the third quarter, and if you look at the sequence of events, we really came out, we had 3 very successful plays. We go like 10 yards, 9 yards, and then on that play we fumbled was like a 20-yard gain. And then we fumbled it. Bad ball security. And so from that point, UTEP gets the ball, they go all the way down to the 1-yard line, which now, I mean, the mojo of the game is about to flip, right? Our defense makes a great play. And so they pick it and go 100 yards, which was the play of the game, in my opinion. And so obviously, and it doesn't take anybody watching the game could have told you that. But then they get the ball back. And so they're eating up more clock, And so there was about, I don't know how much real time it was, there was about 7 or so minutes clock time that we weren't on the field because of, obviously we fumbled it, but we also had a defensive touchdown, so we didn't get a possession, and they get the ball back and they drive, so our defense is out there for a long time. And then when we get the ball back, we get into a 3rd and 2 and don't execute, okay? So we punt back to them. And so now they got the ball for it. Now, so the third quarter we run 7 plays, which is not good. And so you mix in there a punt fumble, which is a loss of possession, a pick 6, which is a loss of possession, technically the way I view it, a good loss of possession, not a bad one, but altogether, we're not on the field a lot in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, by the time we get the ball back, my mindset flips to attacking to helping the defense, and now our defense is worn out. They're tired. They've been playing their tails off. So it doesn't do me a lot of good to go out there and go 3 and out real quick. We had to grind out some first down. So we were more at the end of the game mentality when we got the ball back in the fourth quarter, which we're trying to grind the clock out. We're trying to get home, And so I thought that the third quarter was just, we came out and really, had a mishap, and it kind of changed the flow of the game, because then we didn't have it a lot, and then when we did get it, we didn't do anything with it. And so those 2 possessions in the third quarter were really the problem, and so we did it to ourselves. I mean, we take that first drive and we go score, and all's good, and then we start rolling. Well, then we take it and we have 2 10-yard plays, we have an explosive play, and we fumble it. I mean, it's what it is. Got to take care of the ball. They named the game after it.
Coach, last week you weren't real happy with how physical the offensive line played in the running game. Did they make any improvements in your eyes there?
I think we did. Yeah, we ran the ball. We ran the ball good at times, and I think that the defensive structure that basically every defense we've played really has had like a bear kind of look to them, and so it's not the easiest defense to run against, to be honest with you. It's more geared for you to take shots and everything, but but again, we got to find ways to run the ball. Even, you know, that's like me at times. I got to be patient getting 5 yards. You know, I like seeing Ito get like 15 or 20. And so, but getting 5 yards on first down isn't bad, you know. 5-yard gains are good in the run game, you know. So, I mean, I got to be patient in the run game at times. But I do think overall, if you look at the layout of the game, I mean, we ran the ball well. I don't know, I can't remember exactly the stats, but I think it was the yards per carry were pretty good, you know.
Ito had like 5.8.
5.8, is that what it was? That's good. I think we had 7 yards a play over. We just didn't run a lot of plays.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we ran 40, almost 50 plays the first half. 46, I think is what it was, 47, and then we run
19.
I mean, 19. I mean, that's not good football.
Ito ranks third in the country in rushing yards and fourth per game. How impressed are you with Ito, and how can you keep that going?
He's got to find me. To me, to answer the first part of your question, overly impressed with the guy, with everything about him. He's up there watching tape right now. So I mean, he's got. Not only is he great with the ball in his hand, but what makes him great is during the week. I mean, that guy puts his work in, and so I appreciate that about him. And I think that, you know, as far as me with him, I just got to find ways to get him the ball. You know, I mean, not always. I mean, I can't get too creative with him where we're not handing him the ball in the backfield. You know, and that's one thing that I probably have to balance in my head is I'm going to be moving him around a lot. Obviously, I want to, you know, he caught 4 or 5 balls Saturday, I think, and so he's really good out there too. But I mean, I can't overload him to where I'm doing too much with him. You know, I got to keep it fine-tuned where he's doing everything in the backfield and we're handing the ball a lot, but I got to keep defenses off balance with where I line him up too, because he's our best player, and so, and he's probably, I mean, if he played slot receiver all the time, he'd be the best. I mean, he's just that kind of guy, you know, and so try to be as versatile as I can be with him. But the balance is you can't cross that, you can't push the needle too far to where we're watering it down. We got to keep doing what he's doing good, you know, and then try to find creative ways to line him up and keep doing those things.
Specifically when it comes to his elusiveness, how special is that?
Very. I mean, the first guy hardly ever tackles him. So that's the thing. I mean, if that's the deal. That's why I talk about moving, because if you get him the ball in space, good things happen. And a lot of times when you get him the ball in space and they have it covered, good things happen. So it's not complicated. You know, the ball needs to be in his hands.
Personnel and sets looked a little bit different Saturday with George and Ito on the field. At the same time, a lot, or quite a bit, and then a little bit more Corey, a little bit less Isaiah. Could you talk about what?
Well, with the running backs, I mean, that's just I'm trying to get the best players on the field. I'm trying to get the most productive players on the field. And so George and Ito both have, over the course of the first few games, have been very productive. And so, and Ito too, he has such a good capacity that I don't feel like, the biggest deal with me is I don't like to get in sets. I don't like to get in personnel groupings where necessarily the set is predictable. Does that make sense? And so if I can get in a personnel grouping and do 3 formations out of it, then I feel good about that. If I get in a personnel grouping where I can only do 1 formation out of it, you know, typically I'm not going to do that one a whole lot. You know, it's just not, because I like to be able to do 3 or 4 different formations without substituting people. And so I feel like Ito gives me that because, you know, he can line up the slot and do some things out there. So, I mean, and the other thing is, too, I mean, you know, I think Julian and Jay Sean are probably, you know, I mean, as far as slot receivers go in 10 personnel, they're pretty good at running routes, too. So, I mean, having a tight end in the game and going 4 wide is not a bad deal. And then to answer the last part of your question about Corey and Isaiah, I mean, I feel like DJ doesn't need to come off the field a whole lot. You know, he's the guy that we need to keep pressing and keep getting the ball to him. And but those other ones, we're gonna keep playing people and find some dependability there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the overall. That's the way it is. That's where we're at right now offensively. Is we have capable bodies. We just gotta those bodies have to be, and that's why I tell the group. Dependability is as important as ability. Like for me, like I got to make sure that people out there are doing the right things. You know what I mean? And if you go have a game to where I guess there's enough competition at those positions where if you go out there and play poorly, then you're going to get cut down. I mean, that's life in the big city, you know? It's the way it is.
Coach, when you look ahead to this Rice team, it looks like they base out of a defense that's very, very similar to what you see in practice every day. Can you talk a little bit about that team and any unique challenges they may offer?
I would say they probably do. I mean, you're talking about a 4-down front, right? Is that what you're saying?
And 5 defensive backs most of the time.
Yeah, but they're probably not as aggressive at safety than probably what we face day in and day out, I would say. But they are, you know, they're multiple in what they do. I mean, you sit there and look at them versus certain formations, and they play a very true symmetrical 4-down defense. And then the next clip, they'll be in an odd, and people, you know, I mean, so I mean, for the most part, I would say that they are a 4-down defense, but they have the ability to get in a lot of the stuff we've seen the first 3 games. You know, and I think that, you know, for whatever reason, I mean, people are muddying stuff up with us. You know, I think they're trying to confuse Nick and not let him get a beat on them. So we're seeing a lot of stuff. You know, if you break down coverages from UTEP, I think the first 10 first downs of the game were all different. You know, so I mean, it's just we're going to see a lot of stuff, and to think that we're not going to see something on Saturday that we haven't seen on tape is naive. People are going to try to, you know, at least, I mean, everybody knows that Nick has a great capacity to pick you apart. So they're not going to sit in the same thing time after time after time again. And so we just have to do a good job of recognizing that and having a good plan.
Anything else? Coach, thank you.
All right, guys.